Hello again and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be comparing two similar lenses. Here is the Canon 18-55 EF-S STM lens, and here is the early edition of this lens, the Mark II, the 18-55mm Mark II. Both lenses have image stabilization. Both have a filter thread of 58mm, and the aperture on them is 3.5 to 5.6. That's on the Mark II. Just check the STM, 3.5 to 5.6, so it's the same. We're going to get some test shots, see how they compare in image quality, just to give you an overview of how good they are. If you're interested in macro photography, both lenses will focus up to 0.25 meters or 0.8 feet. So if you're interested in doing any sort of macro photography, obviously that information will be quite important to you. Both lenses have a plastic mount. Let's just show you that. Plastic mount. Plastic mount, and we're just going to test these lenses out really and find out how better the actual STM version is over the Mark II version. This is extremely silent, the STM lens. You can't actually hear the focus, it's so quiet, but I'll show you that, and let's get on with the rest of the review. Right, the STM lens is extremely silent, so it's ideal for doing any sort of video work. So let's just get it out of focus by pressing halfway down the shutter, and then I use back focus to get it in focus. Focus, instantly in focus, absolutely quick. It's out of focus, instantly in focus. Let's get it in focus. So silent and so quick, you can't hear anything. Let's have a look at the other lens. Right, it's out of focus. Let's get it in focus. In focus. Let's get it in focus. Fairly quick. Get it in focus. As you can see, the lens does make a bit of noise getting into focus. Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to continue in the second part. We're in the office, we're going to have a look at the images from the 18-55, which is a Mark II non-STM lens, and here is the STM 18-55 silent lens, by the way. It will focus up to 0.25 meters on both. That's 0.8 feet for you guys in America. Both have image stabilization, autofocus. However, the STM allows you to do manual override if you press the shutter halfway down. So it's obviously a good lens. Both of them are. But I'm going to check out the example so you guys can have a look and see what sort of results these lenses can achieve. So, starting out on the Mark II lens. It works out at 28.8mm at 18mm on the lens in full frame terms. So I'm just going to have a look in the centre at 18, and you guys can get an idea on how sharp it is. 50%, 66%, 100%, 200%. Does seem to lose a bit of detail in the centre when you do go in at 200%, but it is a kit lens, keep that in mind. So obviously you're not spending more than £100 on one of these, so don't be too concerned about the quality in the centre. As long as you're not cropping heavily, you should be fine with these lenses. So let's have a look in the corner. 50%, 66%, 100%, 200%. In the corners you are losing some detail. It's not as clear as I'd like it to be, and there does appear to be a bit of purple fringing, chromatic aberration in there. So just be mindful of that. Let's have a look at how it looks like while it's zoomed in at 55mm on the lens. That's 88mm in terms of full frame, so it's pretty good for doing portraiture. Let's have a look in the centre. %, 200%. So it's doing okay. It's not super sharp, but again, you know, just keep the price in mind when you do buy a kit lens or you get it with your camera. Right, let's move on to the STM lens. So the STM lens sometimes costs a little bit more than the Mark II lens, but let's have a look at center sharpness. 50%, 66%, 100%, 200%. Again, it's giving very similar results to the Mark I. I don't see any issues with the sharpness. Obviously, L lenses, if you're buying L lens, will give you better results, but keep in mind you're only spending about £100. So that was equivalent of 28.8mm. Let's just have a look in the corners. Let's just have a quick look, see if we can see any chromatic aberration. Looking in the corners, it does seem slightly, only slightly sharper than the Mark II lens, but I'm still seeing a bit of chromatic aberration there, because obviously you're looking at the walls here and it does seem like there's a purple tinge there. So let's have a look. Let's zoom out first of all. Let's just have a look at how it looks like at 55mm. That's equivalent to 88mm. And let's have a look at the center sharpness again. %, 100%, 200%. So, to be honest, to my eye, that the results look very similar to the Mark II lens. There isn't a huge difference. Obviously, they're using a very similar optical formula for both lenses. However, let's try and match these up with both lenses. So it's the Mark II versus the STM. They look very similar. Zoom back out. It's up to you guys to make your mind up. That's the Mark II, that's the STM. Mark II, STM. Now both of these images are at f8, ISO 100, around 15th of a second. Possible a slight bit of camera shake, but if I'm really nitpicking here, I'm surprised with the actual results, because it does seem to me that the Mark II is slightly sharper than the STM lens. Not by much, but there is a little bit of sharpness there. Let's zoom in a bit more. Obviously this is the full telephoto capabilities of both lenses. 100%. 100%. Now we're on a tripod, so there shouldn't be much difference in terms of framing of the image. That's the Mark II. That's the STM. It's very possible, because these lenses are actually one's bigger than the other, if you can see that in the actual video. If I was to estimate how bigger it is, it's probably about a centimetre bigger than the Mark II lens. So that could have something to do with the actual formula of depth of field and how it's working, because both are running at f8. Let's have a look how it does on the wide in the corners at 100%. So we've got it at 200% there in the corners, and let's get the STM up to that as well. So that's the Mark II, and that's the STM. Mark II, STM. STM in the corners looks a little bit sharper to me, but both are suffering from chromatic aberration in the corners. So I just hope this little overview of these two lenses gives you an idea on the sharpness, and thank you for watching.